What's happening, golfing fans? Welcome back to the channel. Brought to you again in association with betting.co.uk. I'm Ginger Joe and I'm back with my weekly golf selections for you. And in this episode, we're actually heading into the final major of the year. We've got the 151st Open Championship at Hoylake. And I cannot wait to see how this one unfolds. Really looking forward to seeing other players take on the course this week. It's going to be a real true test of golf. I've been getting quite bored lately of these PGA Tour events where these flat tracks, these short courses, flat greens, making everything so easy for the PGA Tour players, shooting 20 under, 25 under. It's no fun to watch at all, but this is going to be a week where you're going to see some real golf, some proper creativity, and it's going to be a real true test. Can't wait to see how the players take on this course this week. If you are new to my channel, please do hit that subscribe button. It really does help me out a great deal. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. And by doing so, you will get notified when my selections do come live first and foremost. But if there's an article you're after, if you take a look in the description below, I have put a link to my column over on betting.co.uk where I have done a preview for my selections over there too. Now, a little bit of a background about myself. I'm an ex-tour professional, so I've got some playing experience. And I'm now putting that knowledge to good use to try and find you the players that I think are best suited to the tracks that we take on every single week. Now, had a really good run of things so far this year. Some of the best results, we've had a 373 to 1 cross-tour double. In the Canadian Open, I landed the first four with all four of my selections at 66 to 1, 20 to 1, 125 to 1 and 80 to 1. We had Wyndham Clark win at 80 to 1 for the PGA as well, amongst some other really good results. We're over 750 points profit for the season, and all of these selections are completely free. So all I ask of you, if you don't mind, is please do hit that subscribe button, and hopefully we can have the winning run continue once again. Now, what I'm going to do is go straight on to the selections. First of all, we'll take a look at the venue. It's the 151st Open Championship, Royal Liverpool Golf Club at Hoylake, 7,383 yards, 3 par 5s, and it's the 13th time that Hoylake has actually hosted the Open Championship here. The last time we were here was in 2014 when Rory McIlroy won, but the standout performance for me was in 2006 where Tiger Woods beat the field by 2 shots and then pretty much clear of the rest by pretty much just using his 2-iron the whole way round. Whilst a lot of the players were out there slinging drivers left, right and centre, Tiger was just using that stinger off the tee, getting himself in position, and it played. He inevitably left himself more birdie chances and absolutely put on a dominant performance. Absolutely incredible to see that sort of IQ. The fact that prior to that round, him and Steve Williams would have discussed this and then gone and implemented such a unique plan into one of the biggest majors of the year is just absolutely sensational. I think he took the driver out one time, but when he did, he ended up in the bunker, but he went back to the 2-iron. He wasn't leaving himself too far behind the players either, but he kept himself out of the trouble. And as I said, inevitably had more birdie opportunities and shot 18 under par to win by 2. Quite sensational golf. Now, for this week's event, finding the fairway is definitely going to be more important than usual, but I do generally feel like you need a really strong all-rounded player here. You're not going to be wanting to take on too much. You're going to be wanting to make sure you hit plenty of greens in regulation, and you do need a good putter. Very undulating greens, and the players aren't going to be attacking the pins this week. You're going to be needing to use the contours of the greens to make sure that the ball is then feeding down to the holes in the right places. This is a proper test of golf, and you're going to need a seriously good player to get the job done. I've actually got 6 selections for you in this episode. And if you are on my Twitter account or in my group chat, you will see that I put up Thristan Lawrence already at 600 to 1. I think he's a real overpriced contender for this week for the each-way money. But going to go on to my first selection, and that is world number 7, Cam Smith at 16 to 1. Putting up a winner from the previous year isn't necessarily something I like to do and isn't really a good trend to follow, but I do think that he's the most complete player out there on tour, and I actually think he's got a really big opportunity to make it back-to-back wins. I actually followed him around Live London a couple of weeks ago, and I couldn't have been more impressed. This week, as mentioned, you definitely need to be hitting it and keeping it in the fairway. And when he was at Live London at the Centurion Club, although it's a completely different sort of golf course, it is similar in the sense that you need to keep it in position off the tee, and he did that really, really effectively. I think that's nice bringing that sort of form into Hoylake. He's a really solid iron player as well, great ball striker, good around the greens, and if I have to say so myself, I think he's the best putter on tour. Very reliable in clutch putting, and I think the best all-rounder for this week is Cam Smith at 16 to 1. Really strong candidate for my first selection. Now, my second strongest selection of the week is Louis Oosthuizen at 100 to 1. You can actually get 125 to 1 about Louis, but he's my second selection for this week. And he actually won the 2010 British Open at St Andrews. And I think he's a very much overpriced player for him this week as well. A very good tempo to his swing, and that's going to play dividend very well on that back nine, where it looks like the wind's going to be pretty much into face all week long. And you know they're saying swing easy when it's breezy. It very much is something to keep on side. Another really good all-rounder. He's playing very good on the Live Golf Tour at the moment. Finished tied third a couple of weeks ago, and I think that experience is going to count for a lot. 100 to 1, Louis Oosthuizen is selection number 2. Selection number 3 is the 2022 US Open winner, Matty Fitzpatrick at 30 to 1. The world number 9 makes my squad for the very first time this season, actually. He did actually start this year with a real bad neck injury, but he's really starting to find his game again, coming into this event with really good form. He finished tied 10th in the Masters and then backed that up by winning the RBC Heritage, beating Spieth in a playoff. He's just continued that good run of form since. I've been really impressed with him at the moment, and I was really impressed with him at the Memorial when he finished in the tied for 9th. Really strong that week, and even when he had himself in a bit of trouble, he was really game to get himself out, back in play, and ended up getting a top 10 finish. He has since then finished 20th in the Canadian Open, 17th in the US Open, right back to form lately, and I think he's going to be a really healthy addition to this week's squad. Matty Fitzpatrick is my third strongest selection at 30 to 1. My selection number 4 is Ricky Fowler at 20 to 1. No surprise to see him back up to the world number 21. A much rejuvenated character this year, and it's brilliant seeing him come back with a win at the Rocket Mortgage as well. I think that would actually be rather fitting to see Ricky finish off this year with a major, and he's right back to form. His course management is superb. His temperament is brilliant, and I think that's going to be a really good combination to bring into this week. I've been really impressed with his iron play all year round, but I've been even more impressed with his short game and his putting in particular. Like Cam Smith, a really good clutch putter, and I think Ricky Fowler's going to have a really good chance once again. He actually played in last week's Scottish, unlike Louis Oosthuizen and Cam Smith, who had a week off coming into this race, this event. And he had scores of 67, 67, 69, and then finished off with a 74. But the weather wasn't really too kind to Ricky Fowler last week, so I actually think that was a really good event that he took place in last week. Very much in control of his golf swing this year, so Ricky Fowler at 20 to 1 makes selection number 4 for this week's squad. Now, selection number 5, whether you love him or hate him, is Patrick Reed at 80 to 1. Gets into this squad as a very underestimated player, actually. And even though he plays with a strong fade, which isn't necessarily likely to suit the course on paper, he does handle this very, very well indeed. He's very underrated as a player. He's the 2018 Masters champion. He's actually finished top 10 in all 4 majors, so he's got some really good experience. He's been playing very good of late on the Live Golf circuit as well. He actually finished second with a score of 14 under par. And there were only 5 players in the double digits that week, so I really think that's bringing a decent bit of form coming into this game. Into this event. He's got a really sneaky good short game as well. Plays very aggressively, and whether you love him or hate him, 80 to 1 for Patrick Reed is going to be a really good piece of value. I can see him being there or thereabouts come the finish. My final selection of the week is Sepp Straka at 200 to 1. 250 to 1 is available, but I can only get 200 to 1 myself, so that's the price that's going up. And again, on the course, on world rankings alone, that is definitely overpriced. He's got himself up to world number 27, but it's deservedly so as well. He's right on the cusp of getting himself a Ryder Cup spot, and that was actually his second PGA Tour win of his career by winning that John Deere Classic as well. Won it really well. He's got very much underestimated ability, and probably going to be my dark horse for this week. The price is definitely wrong at 200 to 1, so Sepp Straka sneaks in to make it 6 selections. I'm maxing it out for this week for my final selection. Just to recap on those selections, Cam Smith is number 1 at 16 to 1. My second strongest is Louis Oosthuizen at 100 to 1. My third strongest is Matt Fitzpatrick at 30 to 1. Then I've got Ricky Fowler at 20 to 1. Patrick Reed at 80 to 1. And then Sepp Straka takes the final position at 200 to 1. There's my 6 selections for you for this week. As mentioned, I have put up Thristan Lawrence earlier on in the week at a much bigger price, just for some pocket change at 600 to 1. I think that's massive for a recent winner. And these South Africans have got a deadly touch as well around these greens. I think he could handle things very well. But those 6 are my main 6 selections for this week. Now, I'm not going to focus on the Barracuda for this week. Just going to be focusing solely on the British Open. Can't wait to see how this one unfolds. And as mentioned, if you're new to my channel, please do hit that subscribe button. I really do appreciate everyone tuning in and viewing my content. And it's been nice to be in such a profitable position for this year. Drop me a comment on who you think is going to be winning the British Open this week. And I really look forward to seeing how this one unfolds. Thanks a bunch, everyone, for tuning in. Good luck with your bets, and bye for now.